Thank you. This is a better place. This is a nicer place than I usually used to reading. Usually it's the clatter of dishes and people preparing food. And I really loved that story. It reminded me, I don't know if that was the influence of Donald Bartholomew. And I say that partly because I'm going to read a quote from him, but it also did remind me of that. I met Donald Bartholomew many years ago. I took a short story class from him, and he told me two things of which I probably won't remember one, but he said, save a few words to spend on Wednesday. And I was a short story writer, and I think that led me to becoming a poet. So his epigraph, thus I found myself in a strange country. This Paraguay is not the Paraguay that exists on maps. It is not to be found on the continent South America. This Paraguay exists elsewhere. And I know the theme is loneliness, and I was trying to figure out if that worked with any of my work, but then I realized it probably works in almost every poem. You can consider displacement and longing as a sort of subset of loneliness. And this collection is sort of strung together by a series of sort of imaginary city poems, and I'll start with the first poem, which is Red City. Go toward the Red City, they said, and we went to where the ground rose up against the stubborn dark of noon. Find where the sevens are sown, we searched inside the throats of 13 swallows. What we heard, that everything growing there bind toward theoretical blue, proved false. The minutes continued to fall about our sloping shoulders, cuffing our ears like iron kisses. In the appended churchyard, we traipsed arm and fist among the twitch and lurch of sprung earth, green camouflaging green. The elders must have known the city was on fire when they loosed vandals from their armoires. Where the library once stood, fragments of the 12 known plot lines, a few loose vowels to take the measure of what was lost. From here it was a short jaunt to the confessional, where the booths were full, and besides, what was there to confess other than the same tattered narrative? Once I resided among kettlefish and barricades, etc., etc. Thinking back, salt was too good for us. Pumice and ash will register the silhouettes of our fabulous lives. Small squalls wrapped in paper mache, the muzzled pronoun that is I. Somebody once said, to describing my poems, it was like sending search parties out that were searching for other parties that have been lost, and those search parties also become lost because of lost. I like that description. This next poem is travelogue. Outside the frame, shimmer wants our attention, an inland sea, a high window, the crushed spectacles of a minor poet. The narrator does not specify. It could be Madrid in 37, Antigua in late May. An urgency curls the day's image which floats above us in the filmy smoke. Fluent in betrayal, the translator, a village priest, has locked up every vowel. Once I was instructed to hide myself in an underground empire of mason jars and boots. None of us knew then which of our lives we should keep, or which country might desire our excellent services. If only my father had raised his voice or set paper saints ablaze in foreign districts. Who am I if not the shuttered window? I learned to sleep in separate frames, obedient to the smallest of vistas. When I say blood orange, I mean the fidelity of sunflowers, story the distance between sill and toppled chair. I'll read a couple more of these and maybe one or two poems from a manuscript I'm working on. This next poem is called Refrain. Before a plan could be formalized, a town appeared, calamity of streets, dogs barking backwards, and a general washing of hands that led to more washing, and something vaguely political like air balloons, barricades, and rumors of public weather. Gasoline ran the avenues, and word was that soon there would be music, and everywhere a humming or a clearing of throats, as if what was prophesied was finally upon us. So we hitched up our gabardines, grabbed the nearest oboist, looking for the precise angle of entry. What we heard was a distant tatter of songs arranged as a march, the loose syntax of warm rain, bees fuzzy with jazz, nuzzling the river azaleas. All along we had wanted the next thing, and now that it was almost here, our attention turned to the waitress's narration of her town's architecture, its fallen porticos and bays of rambling rooms. It made us want to sleep in separate beds, coddled by various unsponsored silences, so that nothing could disturb the popular music playing inside us. Nothing could disturb the music inside. And we'll try out a couple of newer poems. This one's called Departure. First, dial up the darkest quadrant of sky, assemble green fruit, tins of bees, a suitcase that can bear the weight of birdseed. Forget the moment, the one and the many. An umbrella or sewing machine will not be needed. Instead, calipers, sextant, sounding line. An overcoat large enough for two, darkened cages, movable thresholds, tables preserved in honey. Yes, the Goldilocks zone was never meant for us. Want the moon, though we know it will diminish yarn by yarn, as we wait in radio silence for the next turn of light. Starry swirl at the end of outstretched limbs, all six dawns greeting us at once as we sleep weightless in the slenderest of forevers. And how's the time? Okay.
Very short one.
Okay. This poem's called Afterlife. It's a short afterlife. We remember the darkness at our backs, the spine of stars, how each memory was sifted and offered back to us from the ash of our bodies, how the night plow spilled its cargo of ice over the curved fields, murmur of smoke at the edge of the woods, a crucible of starlings, open sky. Now 2 more suns and the moon smaller by half. At the end of the day, another day. This is not the heaven we counted on, still so knotted to the blue world. We remain winter shadows, heat rising from rooftops, blade and bee falling endlessly before the scythe of the sun. Thank you.